All right. I've made it no secret on this channel that I was a big fan of The Disastrous Life of Saiki K season one. I thought it was fun. I thought it was creative. I liked all the characters, the creativity, the charm, the personality. It was one of the better animes I've seen in recent memory. I loved every second of it. It was so entertaining and it was so like fast paced and there was just endless amounts of creativity and fun, and it was just something that I never really thought I would get tired of. And I felt season one ended too soon. If you don't know, there was this weird kind of divide between season one of Psyche K and like the rest of it. Like the rest of it is like Netflix exclusive or something, and I didn't have Netflix at the time, so I didn't watch it even though I love the first show. So like, yeah, loved the first season of Psyche K. I watched the dub, fantastic dub, great acting, just great sense of comedy. They do everything they can with the material. There are some jokes that just don't land. The show is very Japanese, so there's definitely like weird aspects that don't really land very well with American audiences, like lolicon jokes and dudes who want to bang their sisters. It's pretty out there in a lot of ways. Still a great show, but like there's definitely like weird off-putting things about it, even in season one. But as a whole, like I really liked it. I thought it had a lot of heart. I thought it was like really creative, wild, just all these like really fun, inventive scenarios. I just love the characters and all the situations they would get into. Like I thought this was like a fantastic series, right? But like, watching season two, like I still enjoyed it. I still got through the entire thing, but I have to wonder just like what exactly the purpose of all this was. Like for me, like if you're gonna make a comedy series, right? If you're gonna do this thing where you're gonna create this like in-universe reason of like, oh yeah, this is why nobody ages and this is why like things continue indefinitely. Like, why not just make that the core part of the experience, right? Why not be like, okay, like this is what we're doing now. Here's the convoluted explanation as to like why things are a little bit different, and let's go right into like Psyche K makes this mistake where it takes itself way too seriously. Right? That's kind of my mindset when like I see like all of the missteps that this show takes. Like it just doesn't seem as if like the comedy is there, and it becomes more like character focused and more about like trying to build to like a conclusion to the series that really did not need a conclusion, and in fact shouldn't have one considering the nature of this. Like it really should be like Peanuts or Calvin and Hobbes, where it just kind of exists in perpetuity forever, right? This isn't like meant to be a serious show. Okay, so like the fact of the matter is like all throughout season two, like there's this feeling that like there's not a lot of thought put into arc, like into what's happening. There's not a lot of like feeling that like anything has any real weight to it. Like characters are introduced and then promptly forgot about. You have like you don't really do a whole lot with older established characters. Like my favorite character, like Aaron Kabayashi, like loved him in season one. Right, really cool character. Like always wanted to see more with him, and they don't do anything with him. And don't really do anything with a lot of the established cast. And that's like a problem that I think really plagues like Psyche K as a whole, is that these characters are introduced and they have like great moments, great jokes, they interact with other characters really well, and then you don't really see anything with them either. Like in a lot of ways, they become one note characters. Terahashi is introduced as this character that has like this really unique perspective on life. The idea that she's this super pretty girl who's nice to everyone because that's part of her image, and like internally, she's kind of like a nasty, manipulative shrew, but it's kind of nuanced to it, and you find her likable in spite of that. Like Terahashi is a really, really interesting character from like a conceptual level, but the show has her obsess over Saiki so much that it completely overwhelms her character to the point where like I really don't even think she has an identity outside of that. Chihiro, her friend, like her thing is that like, oh, she has a crush on Saiki too. But then like she shifts over to Kaido. And then like, it's like she never moves on. She never goes after someone else. Like she doesn't really like, experiment or do anything different. Oh, wait, she gets fat like twice. Actually, she got fat in season one as well. But like, it's like that's the point. Like the characters exist in like this vacuum, and they can't really grow or change or like involve themselves together in any meaningful way. It's weird. Like, there were so many times in the season where like I'm watching it and it's like Saiki, Nendo, and Kaido walking home together. And I'm just like, where's Kobayasu? Like it's like, isn't he their friend too at this point? Like it's so weird, like the way the show handles like the character sometimes, because Torasuka has been there like from the beginning, right? One of the earliest like new characters they introduced outside of like the initial like they introduced Torasuka. you know, he comes in, he comes to PK Academy, and he's not in Saiki's class. So he's like somewhere else, like trying to talk to girls all the time. Like, and yet you don't really see him like take that many shots at Terahashi. You don't see him taking that many shots at Chihiro. You don't see him take, like, he's there. He's Saiki's friend, right? In a lot of ways, he's Saiki's closest friend because he knows like about the secret. Like he's there, and yet he doesn't associate with the core cast. Like there's this weird contrast between like Saiki's like school friends and like the psychic kids. Like it's like it's so strange, like how like um the new girl Ura is like introduced, as a psychic. She's open about the fact she's a psychic, and then like they don't really do anything with the character. Like her entire personality after that point is, ooh, she's in love with Saiki. And she, again, like Terahashi, she has a really interesting dynamic with other characters. Being kind of a whore, and kind of like, Terahashi is jealous of her for having, like, it's like yeah, there was a lot of potential with this character, and yet like none of it really comes together because for some reason she's not treated like part of the cast. Like she's usually paired with like Toritsuka. Like Saiki only gets together with them when like he wants them to do something for him. And it's just like, come on, bro. Like, why didn't you invite them to like the the vacation? Like it's so strange, like the weird contrast like between them. Like it's like there's no evolution there. There's no like progression. Like, Kobayashi's thing in like the first season is that like, oh, I want to be a civilian. I want to go to high school. Like I want to be a normal person. Like, and they don't really like emphasize that character trait in this. Like he's just kind of there. Just kind of like, just kind of like the other guy that shows up, and like I don't even think he beats anyone up in season two. Like it's always like he's like the biker guy now. Like he's all like they didn't have any good ideas for his character essentially, and that's kind of my feeling, like seeing all these new characters get introduced, like especially like Akechi. Like Akechi, straight from Persona 5. The detective who is the mere mortal who has discerned Psyche's true nature as a psychic. Like they really try to get you like emotionally invested in Akechi. They try to get you to care about like Saiki and like his background. Like, and yet like it doesn't amount to anything. Like again, this kind of goes into what I was saying earlier, like how the show takes itself way too seriously. Like that flashback sequence where like he goes back in time and like tries to like change the past. Like not only is it completely pointless because it doesn't work, it's not funny or interesting, and it doesn't give any interesting insights to the characters at all. You know, like you don't care about it catchy because he's like the single worst character in the entire series. I would argue with no like he doesn't have an interesting gimmick. He's not funny. Like oh his thing is that he talks a lot. Oh and he's a detective. Like he's like it's like he's the author's favorite character. He does that thing that like teenage girls do when they create characters, when he's just like, oh man, he's so special, he's so amazing. Well, what does he do? Well, like he just is okay. And that's kind of what happens with the Akechi. He doesn't do anything meaningful or impactful. Like he has no like influence on the story at all. And yet, for some reason, you're supposed to take him as like a threat to Saiki's secret seriously. It's just like, why? And I do think this is like the core problem with Saiki K is just this weird inability to kind of utilize like the pre-existing assets in like a way that makes sense and actually like is funny. You know, it just feels as if like they fell into like character stereotypes. They fell into like they established their own cliches and were never really able to get outside of them. It's just really frustrating seeing like very few like new interesting things happen this season. Oh, but there was like one like a major highlight. Like the only thing of value I think in season 2, well the only thing I can remember. The only like 10 out of 10 moment when Terahashi met Kusuo's brother, like what's his name, Kusuke? Like that was one of the most amazing things I think I've ever seen in my life. She got completely wrecked. And like it's not something you would expect to see happen to her and like that kind of personality, considering how like, most people treat her. And like, it's an amazing moment, in isolation, but like what happens after that? Are there consequences? Do they hate each other after that? Do they have some kind of rivalry? Like no, like not there's so much there that could have been explored and could have been done, and yet nothing. We get jack shit out of the best single moment in this entire season. It's so frustrating. So frustrating. I was so disappointed. I was so baffled. And like you also have like, new characters like the cute girl who's like has this Yuri fixation on like Kokomi, and then like I don't know, she like meets her brother and then like falls in love with him, but like it like it doesn't go anywhere. It's like, are you a lesbian or not? Like, make up your mind, bro. It's like, come on, like again, like it doesn't make any sense. Like the character jumps back and forth between being in love with Kokomi, being in love with Saiki, being in love with like Kokomi's brother, and it's just like why? Like the like there's just not enough time given to the character and her shit to really like make her work. Like at her core, she basically is like Terahashi light, who is cute and is capable of manipulating people, but like falls way short of what Terahashi is capable of. So she's just not on the same level as Terahashi at what she does. Yeah, and it's just like, well, what does the character contribute? What does she add? She's not that funny. It's like there are so many like examples of things like that you can point to in this season, and like yeah, it really felt like it was running out of steam, and that just like that gets me to my core point of this. Like the reason I wanted to make this video, like why exactly did this need to be published weekly in Jump? That's kind of my mindset on this. Like, if you don't have any good ideas, like, just take some time off and then come back to it later. Like, Psyche K really is a series that really should just, like, have continued indefinitely the way that, like, Peanuts did, or that, like, 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 this is something that really should have, like, continued for, like, 40, 50 years, right? Like, well, like there's just endless possibilities for like development, growth, like exploring character dynamics, coming up with like fun character arcs, being really out there and ridiculous. Like there's so many like things they could have done with this, right? Exploring every nuance of the characters, but like no, like the entire show became obsessed with like Saiki not wanting to get found out. And it's just like I don't think like that's not something that should carry the entire show. It's like that's Psyche's thing. Like the entire point of the ending is this idea that like Psyche's become close to everyone else and like he considers them his real friends and like at the end of the day, like, well, if that's true, then why aren't you involving yourself in their lives more often? It's just like it just feels as if like there was no real like it just feels like the series had like a really big downturn in quality towards the end. Now, like again, it was like a pretty slow, gradual decline, and honestly, like it's such a low like hill that like you probably won't even notice it until like the last couple of episodes. I wasn't really noticing it until halfway through the second season, and at that point, it's like pretty much over. So like it's like yeah, like there are still good moments in season two, right? Like if you're a fan, you'll probably enjoy yourself. It's something that like I would have always wondered about if I had never seen it. But like, I do think going forward though, I am probably gonna stick with season one when it comes to like showing people like what the show is, because I really feel like the ending to season one is how it should have ended in general, where it's just like an ordinary normal day. Like the idea of giving it like some big action climax where like the characters find out about Psyche and it's just like huh? Like it comes off as so stilted and forced, and like they don't even go through with it in the end. It's like what? Really? I feel so conflicted about this. And I do think that I would like to see this series come back. I would like to see this get like a proper, like full on, like English kind of like full proper release. None of this like the rights are caught between different companies crap. Like, I would like to see like this thing like, come back and like experiment more and like explore the character. Like I really like the series, so it's kind of a shame to like to say that like I had this many problems with season two, but like as a whole, I really liked it. As a whole, I felt like it's it's something I'm happy I watched. It's not terrible or anything, but at the end of the day, like it's something that I really was expecting would be great. And that's kind of my mindset like going into this is that like it wasn't great. So I am not happy with it.